I bet Congressman Mike Carey on the LegacyRetirementGroup.com phone line. Congressman is probably a Michael Bublé Christmas song guy, or maybe a traditional Andy Williams guy. I'm just gonna bet.
Hey, listen, like you guys, I'm a huge Beatle fan, but I still, the one that I always come back to, and I actually like it, is the version with David Bowie and Bing Crosby.
Oh, that is good.
That is a really well-done piece, and the fact that David Bowie wrote his piece, I think just a few minutes before they did that duet, I think is incredible. And as far as Burl Ives, I mean, I think all of us that are on the phone right now, the three of us, I think we remember when he was dressed as the Norelco razor and going down the hill. I've never been able to get that out of my mind since I was a kid.
Doesn't exactly scream Christmas, does it?
No, it doesn't. But you just picture it, don't you?
It's so funny. Speaking with Congressman Mike Carey, Ohio's 15th District, probably our last discussion before the holidays, so we appreciate you jumping on board with this. And a lot of things I want to get to. I want to cover the No Boss Act. I want to talk about the year in review, and there's a lot of negative things you can point to in Washington, D.C., a lot of criticism, and a lot of it's justified. But, Congressman, there's a lot of good, man. A year ago, voters really had two issues in mind when they went to the polls. The economy, number one, border security, number two, and both of those things have been addressed. Talk about that for a minute.
Well, I mean, I think if you look at border security, I mean, this is something that this year, I mean, we passed the Lincoln-Riley Act, signed that into law, protecting American communities to make sure that they know that violent criminals are in. We passed the HALT Fentanyl Act. The other thing was, as part of the reconciliation package, we put over $175 billion dollars into the border security measures, whether it's the wall, whether it's the agents. And I think something that a lot of folks don't realize is that just a month ago, DHS literally marked 6 months without the release of a single illegal immigrant into the United States. So, again, no matter what the press is saying, I think when you start looking at it, you realize where we were just a year ago. And I think that's pretty good. And as far as some of the issues as it relates to taxes, I know that there were a lot of concerns. We made sure that we prevented the largest middle tax increase that our nation would have ever seen. That's about $1,500 a family. In the 15th congressional district, we did a $6,000 tax credit for seniors, tied the tax credit for the child tax credit to inflation, something that had never been done. And obviously, if you look at gas prices, again, they're below $3 a gallon nationally for the first time in 4 years. So, I mean, I think if you look at those things, there are certainly things that we have to do. The shutdown did not help, and, we've got to get that done this week and next week before we go into the holidays.
It comes down to Republicans delivering on promises in really less than 12 months. It's pretty remarkable.
Well, I mean, listen, I believe that it is, and I think, again, if you looked at the reconciliation package, there were so many facets within the reconciliation package that were bipartisan, but it was just the extension of the TCJA, which was President Trump's signature tax plan, that made it a little more partisan. But again, we've got the reconciliation package done. We're operating in that CR. We did pass 3 appropriations. You and I have talked about some of the dollars that we've gotten in. I think this week, the end of this week, we're going to have to focus on the NDAA, which is, of course, putting the money into our America's national defense. These are things that you're seeing, payment for troops and all of the things, the increase. That we've got to get done this week, and we'll see where we land on that.
All right, speaking with Congressman Mike Carey, Ohio's 15th District, the other thing that's being discussed a lot and getting a lot of attention in the media is the Obamacare subsidies, the extensions there and the discussions. I kind of I don't know a lot of details, and maybe you could shed some light on this, Congressman. The president's idea is to send money to Obamacare patients, not the insurance companies, to help offset some of the costs there. I don't know how that happens or what that looks like, if it's sort of an HSA type of thing, but talk about what you guys are working on now to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies.
Well, I mean, I think there's a couple things we've got to look at. Obamacare is going to remain Obamacare. I mean, that doesn't change. The ACA subsidies were created under Biden. And listen, they had a sunset that the Democrats put in at the end of this year. It will affect roughly about 3.5 million people. And I think what My colleagues on the other side, they tied the Obamacare subsidies, which that's not going away. But it's the enhanced COVID-related subsidies,
right,
okay, that are set to expire at the end of the year. And I think what the president said, I know he talked about giving the dollars back, and you've seen several proposals. I know that Senator John Husted has a proposal that I believe, released yesterday, which is an extension with capping the to 400%, I believe, of the poverty level, so you can still get that. But I think what you're going to see a lot of people in a bipartisan way talk about an extension of the ACA. Again, Obamacare is going to remain. And then employer health care will remain. It's the 3.5 million people on this ACA. And then the other thing to think about as it relates to this, if you extend the ACA, it's roughly about $30 billion a year. So when you're looking at extending it 1 year, it's roughly $30 billion. I think from the numbers that I saw in their Congressional Budget Office numbers, and there was a think tank that put it out from the White House plan, I think it's a roughly $30 billion a year to extend those ACA coverages. I think the White House plan looked at about $50 billion, so it's just less than $5 billion than extending the current subsidies. So these are things that, listen, we've got to get this done here this week or next. I'm sure we'll be talking about them. I think the president had his plan, but you've got Bill Cassidy out of Louisiana has his plan. Senator Marino has worked with Collins. He's got a plan. There's a number of plans over in the House. So we'll see what happens here in the next couple of weeks.
Do Democrats really want a solution to this? You mentioned bipartisan efforts here because, I mean, this is real for a lot of people, but it's also going to get political very quickly. People vote their wallet, and midterms are right around the corner, Congressman. And I know people have cost concerns, but do Democrats really want a solution, or do they want to use this to leverage them coming into November of next year?
Well, Mike, I certainly hope that they are as committed as we are to making sure that prices, the affordability, that is the key. And I think everything that we are trying to do right now in Congress, and I think the White House, we're truly focused on affordability. And listen, I don't want to get political in terms of health care because I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think if you looked at, shutting down the government, that should never be a political football the way it was. And my hope is that serious people that are determined to make sure we do what is right in the American public. Listen, there are a lot of people on my side of the aisle that simply they're going to have a difference of opinion of me or some of the other members. But I think where we have to do right now, obviously, price transparency policies, very important. Expanding health savings accounts are very important. But I think as we go into this next year, I think we have to look at the ACA and we have to have a really strong discussion, because if we do nothing, and if something were to happen and the other side plays politics, real Americans could be hurt, and nobody wants to see that, at least of all me.
Congressman Mike Carey, what is something you're working on is the No Boss Act? What is that?
Yeah. Well, this is I think one of the bills that Representative Landsman, who's based out of Cincinnati, he and I worked on this. What this bill does, it helps people take advantage of the Self-Employment Assistance, or the C program, which essentially removes red tape and makes it hard for states and the federal government to coordinate. So this bill would actually improve that. But when people are starting their own businesses, sometimes they're considered unemployed. And so this bill just really seeks to make starting a business easier. It streamlines the process by changing language in current law to help people who are technically unemployed but get relief while they're starting up their business. And we know that small business really is the engine of this country. It's something that Greg and I have worked on in the past, and hopefully we have a reconciliation 2.0, and this could be something that we could put on that.
Well, I'm all for less red tape when it comes to really anything. So, yeah, good work on that, and let's hope this moves forward. Congressman, I won't talk to you before the holidays. I really appreciate your contributions to the show, your candor, your willingness to spend time with us a couple of times every month. I hope you and the family have a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And we wish you the same, my friend.
All right, take care. Congressman Mike Carey, Ohio's 15th District.